Hello everyone, welcome, Happy New Year, it's 2021, unbelievably, and it's Doctor Who time again, Revolution of the Daleks, New Year's Day special, and as you can see, our setup's a bit different this time around because of how life is. So,
The lovely tier 4 restrictions we find ourselves in.
yeah, so Zoom it is.
2 days ago.
Welcome to 2021, it's still terrible. But hopefully, what won't be terrible is Doctor Who. Because we have Daleks, we have Captain Jack, we have companions leaving, we have the Trump guy from Arachnids in the UK, and who knows what other surprises are in store for 75 minutes. But yeah.
Always an extra bumper one, isn't it? Let's hope there's no padding.
It's going to be a really long scene with Ryan and his dad in a cafe again, probably, to pad out the runtime.
A lot of dead air, just silence.
The silencer in it? I didn't know that. Now that would be a twist, but I don't think that's going to be happening. But yeah, the credits are rolling on Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, so it's about to start, and we will see you then.
Princess.
He's been poisoned. There's a Dalek in that tea. He swallowed a little Dalek. Oh.
Boy. Water cannons?
Well, I can't wait for the jokes that are going to come out with that.
Here we go.
Meanwhile, in prison. See the silence are in it? They're everywhere. Neat.
Brown.
I don't think it's brownies. Oh, the evil bastards have exercise drills. Angela. Oh! Angela? How rude. Oh, cigarette!
An ood and a cigarette.
Nice.
Tiny.
Yay!
Maybe that's because she wanted us to be able to follow her, to find her.
Are you doing a terrible job of it?
This is very Rose from Parting of Ways.
Yeah.
I want an immediate national rollout of security drones.
National?
This will end well. This is going to be Remembrance of the Daleks 2 Electric Boogaloo. Oh, Jesus!
You're lucky you're not all dead on the ground.
You were ready to give up your car, mate. They'd be long gone if they were trying to steal that.
That didn't go exactly to plan, did it?
They should let
He doesn't immediately give up. Meanwhile, in jail.
There's a pilot.
Oh, there's a silence! Yay! I was right! Amazing.
Yeah!
That's so cool.
I forgot you were here.
That was a joke. That was also a joke.
Yeah. Yay!
Have you had work done?
You can talk.
Aha!
It's funny because he's older now.
And that's what they said last time.
Oh, look at them like absorbing.
How did she manage to smuggle that in here?
You really want me to answer that?
Oh no.
I've missed you.
It's the same way he hid the gun, isn't it? Aww.
I always
Live in the worry? That's terrible advice.
me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I found something more.
Test tube Daleks.
Ah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
No, it's ugly as fuck. Fire cannot kill a Dalek. Oh, heck. As it possessed him.
Yeah. Even that, I was just sat opposite him with a gun.
I'd prefer that.
Hey, Silver Fox. Hello.
Great, you're so precious. Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's done now, so...
That's the spirit.
Yep.
What's new on planet Earth?
I've been back for 2 minutes. For God's sake. Oh.
Oh.
Ah, Jesus. Now listen here, you little shit.
Dealing with that.
Last story was like, let's make the Cybermen robots. This story, let's make the Daleks robots. These designs are copyrighted.
I'd rather not have met her, because having met her and then
Oh.
being without her, that's worse.
Of our national life.
Looks a bit tired.
Together, we
Aha.
can make this The
Aha!
She should have come out doing Dancing Queen.
Boy.
How did people not see them before they walked onto the camera anyway? Rather like some big announcement, but they must have been just there.
It's got big screens either side of her.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous. It's our cue. Not the face. He accidentally cuts Yaz in half with his gun.
make Britain more secure.
We will fuck you up.
Not everyone can carry off a yellow beanie. There's a lad to rely on.
I think he's grown a bit distant.
4 minutes to the sack.
Yes.
Rather 10 months. More sorry than I can ever really say.
Like 10 years. Like other people.
Amy got over it, like.
If I'm not who I thought I was, then who am I?
You're the doctor? Same as before, same as always?
Roll credits.
Right.
You pull off the beanie, Ryan, but why are you wearing it indoors?
Same as people.
You're not going to feel the benefit now.
Thank you, Ryan. For being my friend.
Wait, what's
Where were the other two when they were having that conversation?
What are you doing this whole
They were
time?
just scoffing the custard creams from the console.
And the smallest trace of organic material. Not understanding that
Rookie
Dalek
era.
conscious.
Where did you get the purchase order numbers in the first place?
Really? That's
Fuck
what's bugging you most right now.
He's asking the real questions.
Attack of the Clones.
You're feeding clone Dalek creatures liquidized humans?
Lovely.
Correct. This is a PR disaster.
Son of a bitch.
Converted into what?
We shall use this planet as a base.
Cybermen, yeah. What do you think? Oh, he's even got a red shirt on. No, red shirt, no. You shall not pass.
Teething issues with
Don't pass it.
This is a PR disaster. You're smiling, bitch. You're done.
They're not like.
Oh! Do it, cowards. Oh, they did it. No! Misfits guy.
Sweet fucking bolt.
Bit late to be sorry now, buddy.
only one thing I can think of. Nuclear option.
We blow up Earth.
Nuclear option.
Controversial plan. We kill everyone.
She's gonna fall in that cheek. She's gonna fall on normal one.
Exactly.
Give them. Oh, are you fans of Sex in the City? I can give you an autograph.
The signal that brought you here?
Oh.
No.
Stop talking about Graham.
Oh. Oh.
Come on.
Genetics can be modified. There is only one purification.
Oopsie.
No.
Bye.
But please, oh.
Won't disappear again. Yeah, you will. One day you will.
Well, let's talk about that after we solve this problem, yes?
Not if you die first.
Why do I like this guy so much more than this one?
I know. I wasn't gonna score a moment.
Ah, that's a cool shot.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm immortal.
I didn't teleport.
It didn't work. They were all killed. They're in the fake non-TARDIS.
I've programmed it to fold in on itself and send itself to the heart of the void, which will of course break it
Oh.
apart and destroy you.
Oh man. What a way to go. Damn, son.
And who stood up to the invaders on behalf of
You're having a
us.
laugh.
Now, as rumours intensify that he may be in line for an honorary knighthood, Jack Robertson
Oh, for fuck's sake.
in the
No.
United States.
What classic monster will he align himself with next?
I've been such a downer this whole episode.
He wants to stay home. Little does he know, lockdowns happen. You want to stay home? Fine, you can't leave it.
Send my love to Gwen. Okay,
Oh.
bye. Made it back too late. Missed my time with you.
Oh.
Unhappy? Unsad.
Oh.
I don't want to miss out on you. You know, being here without you will be
Aww.
the same.
Graham, you're gonna make me
I'll
cry.
always be looking around then to say stuff to you, you
Oh.
know? Sure, I'll see you soon, mate.
No, don't cry, Graham.
Keep doing humanity, Brad.
Aw.
The nits!
Don't have knits.
Wait.
Gets a gun. You're not going anywhere.
You stay in.
I could always use the TARDIS to go back. Arrive an hour after you guys.
Aw.
Change the timeline. And we'd have more time together.
Doc, I want screen time.
Okay to be sad.
I need the development. He's
Oh,
gonna ride the bike.
ride the bike. Oh, you're doing it, mate.
Psychic people. These will get us in anyway.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
Well, then what are we waiting for?
Are they dead and going to heaven? Oh, now that's just rude, isn't it? Oh. One Dalek survived. Exterminate.
Comes over the hill.
Is this a related thing or?
Oh
No
my god.
fucking way!
Oh my god.
John Bishop's
Yeah.
the new companion. That's okay. I'm on board. That's amazing. What did you think?
Yeah, it was quite good to be fair. It was a good episode.
I really
And I remember literally towards the end I was like, oh, we've had no big surprises. And then we had the big surprise.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
A new companion.
Yeah, like, you know, it was I don't think it was nothing like majorly new. But it was a good solid story that I think Jodie and Chibnall needed.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of criticism from certain corners of the internet on, like, you know, how the plot's too whatever and the characters aren't that good.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan wasn't the best character in this episode, but other than that,
I'm sad that I feel like Bradley Walsh should have gotten a lot more to do. I feel like he didn't really do anything except say, you know, I'm going to leave because Ryan's leaving.
yeah, and that's kind of why I think they're sort of getting rid of, they're cutting down the TARDIS team, I guess, because they realise they can't write for 4 characters. And then in this one there was 6. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's tricky,
Thankfully,
but I
Jack
get
had a
why
lot to do.
They had to balance 75 minutes across 6 characters, whilst also having the whole Doctor still coming to terms with what happened last season and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and writing out 2 companions and everything.
Yeah.
I do think they justified the longer runtime though. I never got bored.
Yeah, there was the bit in the TARDIS with Ryan and the Doctor having the talk where I thought it lagged a little bit,
Mm.
but that did feel very sort of inserted in after the
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's fine.
Yes. And I think she was in prison for like maybe 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, that was the big
But
shock.
I assumed Jack would get her out, but I wasn't expecting to be like, oh, hello, I'm in the cell, and they're dissolving to freedom.
I thought it was going to be like it would be 2 separate storylines. So Jack would arrive on Earth having to fight the Daleks with the companions, and then she'd be escaping. I thought that would be how it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, the stories ended a lot sooner than I thought they would. They like reunited with her like really quickly compared to what I would assume.
It was like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, they're back again.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed the balance of the characters. I think they did a fairly good job. I think we should have gotten more Graham if it's his last one, but still.
Well, I
fitting
think
exit, I
with
would say.
Graham, you know, why he's leaving is because, you know, Bradley Walsh actually has a pretty hectic schedule, so that might have been the only shots they were able to film with him,
Yeah.
which is why they had to obviously
Yeah,
get
that's
rid
true
of him.
actually. It might have just been a schedule thing. I was when they had that scene with the Doctor and Ryan, I was like, it's an odd choice for her to speak to him about this kind of thing. But maybe because I felt like that should have been a Graham scene.
Yeah,
I can see why maybe
Ryan.
Bradley just couldn't be around for it, which is fair.
Yeah.
I don't mind it being Ryan because obviously he was leaving too. So
It wouldn't surprise me if Bradley was just too busy. He had to film Christmas blankety blank.
the chase, the production on the chase is just so down this year.
Yeah, they probably thought, oh, we're not going to have you at the Holland next year. You're going to be working on the chase, and then COVID happened, and he's like, oh, I've got a free schedule now.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm glad they could leave on their own terms. I guess they didn't like get killed or trapped in another world or anything.
Weird for once because we haven't had that. The last person who did that was Martha back in series 3.
Yeah, which was 13 years ago. Well, 14 now, I suppose.
Yeah, since a companion has left properly and not died or had their memory wiped or got stuck back in time or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good that, and it does leave the door open for spin-offs and then to come back and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if they're not at least in Jodie's last one, in like a cameo or something.
Yeah. Well,
or maybe when Yaz leaves.
This whole year, being stuck inside, I've read a lot more, wider Doctor Who things, and it did get me thinking like I'd like more in the universe, not on TV. I know you've got Big Finish, but I would love some books, some standalone books with. You could do it with, Jack, Ryan, and Graham, and Gwen even.
Yeah.
And then with Jack's departure as well, it does leave the door open for more Torchwood, especially because he's going to see Gwen.
Yeah.
So I think that they could bring that back, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're gonna look at the reaction to him in this episode and see if they want to do it.
Yeah, we'll definitely see him again. Come on, May. I really enjoyed him in this one.
Yeah. I was worried that it was going to feel forced and very like fan servicey.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It felt like it was a natural thing, and it felt like after he knew that she was around still, and that she was in quite a bit of danger, that he would go and look for her.
Yeah, and I guess like the scene with Jack and Yaz when he was kind of talking to her about leaving the Doctor and stuff. I guess that's kind of why I felt like Graham was a bit shortchanged because they had that scene. Ryan had the scene with the Doctor, and he was just, I guess, standing
But I guess
off.
the argument with that is that Graham never thought about leaving. He never thought it would end. But
Yeah,
Ryan did and Yaz did. But Graham only decided to leave once
Ryan had decided.
Ryan was going to go. So
Which I do think makes sense.
Because if he's not thinking about it, they're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, all the character moments felt good. I felt the return of the American Robertson man was, again, I was going to think it was going to be a bit unnecessary, but it fit really well. It made sense.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like this series is Harriet Jones, I guess, just sort of the polar opposite.
Yeah, it wasn't kind of forced in the way, I think, at least like what the character was supposed to represent wasn't forced. They just kind of owned it without having to relate to like a real life thing in this one. I think that worked so much better.
You could clearly tell that he did take inspirations from Trump. There were certain mannerisms in there that you could see. And, I get that. But Trump himself is kind of the cliche, idiotic American billionaire, so...
Yeah, he wasn't just the allegory in this one, which I think he was before.
Yeah, he did.
I found him really funny in this one, to be fair. I think he had a good moments.
That's the thing. He was there for a bit more comic relief because, the companions had been left for 10 months, so they weren't too happy. The Doctor was still grappling with it, and I mean, Jack was there and he did provide some humorous moments, but it was the added realism that Robertson sort of gave with his sort of business mind.
Exactly,
it was PR worries and everything like that.
And I feel like that whole business side of things worked so much better with him in this one than it did in Arachnids, because it was just a bit more subtle.
This time you actually felt like there was a real danger and a real threat, whereas in Arachnids, it wasn't a threat that was actually threatening, I guess.
Speak for yourself. I hate those giant fucking spiders.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So yeah, he was good. And the whole idea of like that guy cloning the Dalek, we knew that was going to go horribly wrong. But I do like how I wasn't expecting them to directly kind of tie it to Resolution in quite that way. Like I was like, okay, they're going to get inspiration for the design of those things from that Dalek they found. But I wasn't expecting like him to get the DNA and clone Daleks that way.
Well, that's it. I thought it would just be like all of these drones would fight on behalf of the human race to fight off a Dalek invasion. But the fact that it was, it was that these Daleks were then cloned and it was two Dalek races going against each other. I thought an interesting way, but it was very similar to the Paradigm Daleks coming out and killing the old Daleks in Victory of the Daleks.
Yeah.
It was very similar to that, except that kind of gets thrown out the window when you think of Dalek Asylum.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, it's a cool new design. I really like the design of the drone Daleks.
Yeah, the reconnaissance thing.
I was kind of disappointed we didn't get anything else from the normal Daleks. I was expecting a different kind of design there. Like a super type thing. But
I was a bit underwhelmed with the battle on the bridge because it was literally like 5 versus 5, and then it was like, we've killed them all, Doctor, off screen. But I suppose it's just a budget thing. But I like the idea of the Doctor like summoning them.
Yeah, you can't although they reverse engineered the Dalek casings, it's still human Dalek casings, so they're not going to stand up to the same.
Yeah.
Because those warp pistons turn to lasers pretty quick.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. I suppose it's like a multi-tool thing, maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, I did like that, and it was I feel that these Daleks were a similar type of thing to what the Parallel Cybermen were, where they're supposed to just be the evolution of technology, and something that realistically see happen.
Yeah, 3D printed drones and stuff. You can kind of imagine it.
It's a very Independence Day resurgence when the aliens crash down and they use their tech to make them better, but then it all backfires.
Yeah, basically. But
very niche reference.
I thought they were pretty well used, the Daleks in this one. And it was good to see them. I know it wasn't technically like pure Daleks, but we saw them like really early on. So Resolution took like 2/3 of the way through to actually see the Dalek really. So that was cool.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that the timeline kind of works. I was trying to figure out where the timeline was in my head.
Yeah.
Because Resolution was the 2019 New Year.
Yeah.
So there's been 2 years since that.
Yeah. I think that's right.
But then they're like 366 days later, so that's then last year's New Year when Spyfall's happening. And then another 10 months later, from the end of the season, would be now.
Yeah.
I think.
And we had another dodgy Prime Minister.
Yeah, but she did not last very long. I think she was like sworn. She was sworn in. She came in like one day later. She was dead.
The Daleks dead. But again, I feel like that wasn't forced down our throats in a way. I feel like maybe Series 11 would have done. I think.
It definitely would have been more of a look at how idiotic this Prime Minister is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was more definitely like a means to an end. But I thought the supporting cast were really good in this one. There weren't like many characters really.
No, I suppose the only other supporting cast members were the Prime Minister lady and Leo, the scientist.
Yeah, who I thought was good as well. I like that they kind of went back to Resolution and that Dalek had the same skills and could possess him and stuff, because I thought that was a neat little thing.
And then they explained it away by being like, yeah, even the tiniest bit of DNA will still keep like their personality and stuff.
And they like used the UV light again to bring them all back, which I hated in Resolution because I thought it was dumb because the Dalek was in 3 different pieces and somehow that like brought it back to life. But here they were like fully alive mutants, and I kind of bought into that a bit more. But it's cool that the lore of those Daleks, I guess, is kind of consistent.
Yeah, and I mean you can now argue that that's it for that as well now, because they killed the host basically. There's no evidence left.
Yeah.
Unless we get another New Year's special next year of some more government people taking the other Dalek wreckage.
Yeah. Oh, that's an even better design. Let's do that one. Paint it black. They just use a Dalek sec prop.
Groundhog Daleks and just have the exact same episode again.
I mean, I enjoyed this one, so I wouldn't mind. But yeah, good stuff with that.
I do think this one is not going to. I mean, I haven't been on the internet yet. I don't think this is going to cause as much controversy as last season did, almost.
No, I hope not. you'd have to really try hard, I think, to find loads of reasons to hate this one.
Yeah, I mean, I can see maybe criticism being pointed at Brian's Tozen's acting more than anything. I think I don't think it was best today.
Yeah.
I think even it was a bit sort of down, a bit muted.
Yeah, I didn't mind that so much. I kind of understood that. Like 10 months away from that life, you kind of get used to it, and you probably, that's a lot of time to reflect on how dangerous all that shit was, and to reconnect
I mean,
with friends.
it's not for everyone. I mean, you know, some people will be like, yeah, well, how could you give up? But I get the fact that
that's what I
some
liked
people-
about it. It felt very different. Like, you know what, this just isn't for me anymore. And I like what the doctor was saying. Like, oh, I missed my time with you. I just missed out. I like that idea.
Yeah, because if she hadn't gone away for 10 months, they could have had out 10 months worth of adventures and could have died, or they could have he could have ended up staying on because he wouldn't have experienced coming back.
Yeah, and just missed each other. And
Yeah.
I like that idea. Like, he's kind of, you know what, I'm just bye.
But again, although he says he misses it, he was then looking at, like, it's still there. He was still looking at things that were happening in the world that could be aliens.
And him and Graham are clearly going to go off and investigate stuff as well with their psychic papers.
But I'm very happy Graham didn't die.
Yeah.
I was mentally preparing myself for him to die. And they were definitely teasing it. They were teasing, oh, we're not going to get exterminated or whatever.
Yeah, I think they were as well.
Don't do it. But they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
And I liked the kind of callbacks to like their first scene at the end there. And like they were wearing the same things, and then I'm in two minds about the Grace thing.
Yeah, it felt very
Emotionally,
Han
I feel like it was appropriate and made sense, but it's also just the way it was like staged and framed. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe if like in Arachnids in the UK, I really liked it when he kind of went back into the house and she was in the background, kind of all blurry. If they'd done that, so she was kind of watching over them, but kind of like blurry in the background, I think that might have worked better because it was very, you know, the heavenly light surrounding her. And, but I liked the sentiment.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a dodgy CGI as well, I thought. When she first appeared, but the effect doesn't quite work. But,
Yeah,
you know,
but for a
I
narrative
get-
thing, I think it made sense, so I liked that.
it's going to make sense that she'd be there because that's you know the first time we saw all three of them, and it was the first time that we saw Bradley being like a grandfather figure to Ryan.
Yeah, and now he calls him Grandad all the time.
Yeah, doesn't give him a fist bump though.
I know, that did feel a bit weird. I guess there's a
That's-
time and a place for that because they're literally on a Dalek ship, but
Yeah, it did feel a bit off because you know in the previous season he was getting Ryan was getting a bit more friendly and fist bumpy with Graham, and I would have thought that would have continued, but for some reason
yeah.
it felt like it. But that's
Probably
very
just wanted
minor.
to tell a joke for some reason, but that's a minor thing.
But yeah, speaking of callbacks, we've got plenty of fan service with Jack being back. That's what I loved. I mean, it was going to happen, and it didn't feel too forced, except
No.
for the immortal line when he teleported. I felt that was
Weird. I was like, that's such a weird thing to say. Like, it's not like you're staying on board with them, so I'm immortal, I'm going to be fine, you're all dead. He left anyway. I was like, that's strange.
something like that's just a brag. That's just a humble brag.
Yeah, especially because they already had a scene of him telling them, oh, I can't die because of Rose and the Doctor. So, again.
Yeah, that's the thing. I liked that. That was
was
a very good sort of quick thing when it's like, oh yeah, now she's on a parallel universe.
Because that literally, that happened 16 years ago. So some people will have joined since then and been like, who the fuck is this guy? So they needed that.
It's that stuff is part of the big thing that brought a lot of people into Doctor Who. But there will still be people watching this one especially and being like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, all the grandmas and stuff watching this like, what the hell? So yeah.
And then it was, I enjoyed have you had work done? You can talk. Which is exactly what they said in Utopia when he reunited. And I hope that if he meets the 14th Doctor, that they do exactly the same thing again.
Every time he meets a new Doctor, they just have to do that scene again and again.
If he hasn't done any big finish yet, just put it in. Just put it in. It's fine.
Yeah, so that was good. And I liked seeing all the other creatures in the prison. Angelica, the Weeping Angel. Who's my favourite Weeping Angel?
Just like, it would be funny if the Silence were in this.
That was great. Because that was not in any trailers or anything, so I was just kind of joking around. But yeah, it actually was in it. So that was funny.
And that's the thing, is that, they put thought into that as well, because with the Silence and the Pating, they're quite hard to CGI. You know, that will take up a bit of budget. So they were purposely put in there and not just raiding the cupboards like they would have with the Sycorax and you.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see a Sycorax again. I
Yeah,
do
it's
like
been a
the
while.
Sycorax.
The weird bug thing from the Laser Quest episode of Sarah Jane was in one of the scenes. There's probably loads you could pause on that and sort of go through them all.
Yeah, there'll be a good few Easter egg videos on this episode, I imagine, with that.
That's what I'd like sort of more about Jodie's second season. This one is that it looks like they've realised going completely brand new isn't the right direction, and they've started putting more older stuff in. Not
Yeah.
too much.
This
but
felt like
enough.
a good balance. I think Series 11 maybe didn't do enough of that. I think
Yeah.
you could argue Series 12 did too much of that, in a way.
Yeah.
I feel like they did it really well in this one.
Yeah, because obviously the first returning thing was the Daleks, wasn't it, in Resolution? I mean,
Yeah.
for Jodie's first season.
Mm.
But then the newest one, you had the Shadoon, you had the Cybermen, you had the Master, and then obviously in this you had all the other aliens and stuff. So I think that they're getting there, and then next season, I won't spoil it, but there are other monsters returning that have been in Who before.
Yeah. If you want to know,
So-
you can Google it. You'll find sentences.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see what they bring back in, because I do like new takes on monsters, like with the new Daleks.
Yeah,
So they
I
work-
think, yeah, this
even
era
the
has served the
top-
Daleks really well so far.
But I'm sure we'll get another Dalek special. It seems like the Daleks are being reserved for these types of specials.
Yeah.
It's fine by me. I mean,
I don't mind
we
it.
do get Dalek stories.
It would be cool to maybe get like a two-part Dalek story later on down the line, but I could see maybe next year's also a Dalek one, like a trilogy of Dalek specials, and then maybe they do
Yeah.
regular stuff.
Yeah, I thought that, but then they could have continued the sort of drone Dalek if maybe they didn't kill this one and he took over that thing.
Yeah.
Then they could have that in the trilogy one, but I feel that because they destroyed this, there might not be anything for them to pick up unless they just do a completely brand new Dalek story.
Yeah, maybe. And I enjoyed, there was still a few brief kind of talks about how the Doctor's affected by the Timeless Children and whether or not that can happen. And I do like Ryan kind of saying, go out there and find yourself and all that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, well, that's it. And I think Chibnall said recently that they did this story because of the amount of new things it would open up to the show.
Hmm.
And I can get behind that. And I can get behind her running into other versions of herself that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they should retcon anyone to be a version. I think that'll take away from characters. Because there was that rumor that Graham would be one. Obviously, it's not. Well, at least it wasn't true in this episode.
Thank you.
But,
So glad.
but yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I mentioned to you last week that they could do an Avengers style where like 5 Doctors have teamed up that she doesn't know about to do something. They could easily do.
This is like,
There's so many options for them.
this could be the perfect setup for a hell of like a 60th anniversary thing.
Well, exactly, because it's not. They've probably done it because, for longevity's sake, you cannot get a lot of the earlier Doctors back now.
Yeah.
Either they've passed on or they're too old and they don't look anything like what they used to. Even newer Doctors, Christopher Eccleston looks, doesn't look like what he looked in 2005 because that was 16 years ago. And David getting up there as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good way of making sure the show can continue in some form with these big multi-Doctor crossovers.
Yeah. And Kevin Bishop.
John,
Bishop, that's it. Who's Kevin Bishop?
you idiot.
Oh, Kevin Bridges is who I was thinking of. John Bishop.
No.
Kevin Bridges
John
is the new companion, confirmed. No, John Bishop is our...
He's been one of my favourite comedians for so long. I've seen him live.
I like him a lot.
Plymouth. And I'm so excited to see him join you. It took me completely by surprise. Had no idea how to him.
Yep, me too.
When they did like the trailer at the end, I was like, is this just going to be a crappy BBC trailer thing saying, oh, it'll be back? But no, it was still an introducing type thing. I was like, what?
And it was like the end of episode 1 of series 11 when instead of like, here's what's coming up in this series, it was like, here's all the guest stars this series, and they basically like did that, but cool.
So yeah, I'm interested to see how he comes in because obviously he's from up north, but he's from the other side of England rather than the
Yeah.
Sheffield side. So it'd be interesting to see what story he comes in at. But either way, you know, he's a funny guy. He'll definitely bring in the sort of Bradley Walsh type comedy that we had, I think, because he's also that father figure, that dad joke type person.
Yeah.
So I think that's necessary. But there's only 8 episodes in the new season, which is coming out this year.
Yeah, which is another thing I was not expecting.
It could be 1 episode at Christmas Day,
Yeah, it
and
could
then
be
the
a
rest
special,
was on
yeah.
the thing, you know, other, but still.
Not a bad
Very
turnaround, really, considering everything.
Well, I mean, they've got all this Time Lord Victoria stuff, and they've got the game coming out, so it's probably not going to come out in the first half of this year. Probably won't
No.
come out before the summer.
No, I can see it being like October-ish time or something like Series 11 was.
They might do it with, because I don't know if they said that a Christmas festive special was part of the 8 or not. So they might do an 8 series in October, November, and a Christmas special
Yeah,
in December, or a New Year's special probably.
maybe.
I don't know, I think after this, I'm optimistic about where Doctor Who's going. I was quite worried, not worried, but quite unsure about where it would go following the end of the last series, just because of the response to it. You know, there's always rumours about how the BBC are never fond of it and they're not giving that much effort to it, so I'm always sort of concerned.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful that this is a positive sign for things to come.
Yeah, I think you can see there's still somewhat of a budget with this one. I thought for the most part this one was great. I loved the shots of the Daleks flying around the TARDIS and then the Daleks going into it, and I liked that being like, we have a spare TARDIS, we need to kind of remove this from the equation, and that was like how they stopped those Daleks. I thought that was kind of a cool solution.
I hadn't even thought of the second TARDIS that was there until they were all in it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
exactly.
oh, hang on, there's a
Like,
second
"Ha-ha."
TARDIS.
Yaz is like, my post-its.
Yeah, and I mean, even just the static CGI of the Dalek, you know, floating in front of the TARDIS was good because normally that looks pretty dodgy. It has done previously, but I thought this one looked quite crisp.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I thought the direction in this one was really good, especially when there was that last little Dalek pleading for its life, and they were like really close up on the pure Daleks. So I liked that a lot.
Yeah, it all looked really good, and I'm sure it looks even better in Ultra HD, which is what this episode was being shown as. If you could watch it on BBC iPlayer,
Yeah.
I think. So they probably had to make sure the CGI did not look bad.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one a hell of a lot, actually. I love the Daleks, I liked Jack, I enjoyed Graham and Ryan's exit, because they didn't die.
Yeah,
Stuff.
yeah, I'm very happy they're still alive. It'd be good. Well, we haven't touched on Yaz and the Doctor's relationship because a lot of people were speculating that there'll be a romance there.
Yeah. I can see
I think
it.
they're
I can see it from Yaz's point of view. I feel like maybe they could do a one-sided thing, but I don't know if they'd go there. A lot of people are like, well, they're clearly in love. I can't go that far. I'm like, I don't think there's been enough setup for that.
No, I can't see it being reciprocated at the minute. I don't think this Doctor's the type that will fall in love, kind of like Peter Capaldi, where she's not the person that will do it.
Yeah.
I think. But that could change over the season. You know, they
We'll
might.
see. I think there is a bit of setup there, but I would need them to do a lot more work with it, I think, first.
Yeah, I think Yaz definitely has the feelings because her and Jack's conversations sort of alluded to it.
Yeah.
And she was immediately like, yes, I'm coming, I'm definitely coming. And she was most sort of let down by the fact that she didn't return straight away. So it could happen from her side, but there does need to be more work on the Doctor's side if that's going to.
Yeah, I think so too.
But it might not. It might just be fan theories that just go nowhere.
True. You never know. But we'll find out this year, thankfully, because we will get more, which is cool.
2020 looking up already.
Yes. Already a good start. Although, 2020, we still had a series of Doctor Who, which seems alien to me.
I forget that. I forget we had a series.
But then the
last
world
year.
ended after that series ended. So
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
things will get back to being half decent with another series later in the year.
The thing you got to think though is with this new series that comes out, it will have been filmed last year and part of this year, so it might look a bit weird. Because
That's true, yeah.
if you watch the Call the Midwife Christmas special, there are some scenes where you can tell they've been standing far apart
Yeah.
and talking across a room from each other rather than like next to each other.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if we get a lot of that this season. But what can you do?
No, it is what it is. It's better than they're not doing it, you know. So yes, Revolution of the Daleks. I really bloody enjoyed it. That's my view.
Yeah, it was a good. I was disappointed it wasn't Christmas Day, but it was good that it was today. I spent the whole day being like, oh, is it? What is it? How long's left?
Yeah.
Because I was excited for more Doctor Who, and I'm excited for more to come.
Me too. And I can't wait for people to tell us how wrong we are in the comments. Yay!
Yay!
Can't
I'll be
wait
in
to delete
there.
some
I'll
of
be
those.
in there.
Yep. Anyway, that was that. And we don't know when it's coming back, but we know it's this year, so all good stuff there.
As long as it doesn't get delayed.
Oh yeah, that's true. We'll see.
I mean, they wouldn't have put a date if they didn't know, because they clearly filmed stuff, because they clearly shot that thing especially for John Bishop's
Yeah,
reveal.
yeah.
So they must definitely know that it's ready, and it's 8 episodes, so it's not as big of a task as it would be if it was a normal 10 or 13.
Yeah. Well, that was that. Very good stuff. Different kind of reaction. Looking forward to editing this because it's going to be a living nightmare. But either way, thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If not, I'm sure you'll let me know. But yeah, that's going to be everything, and I'm sure we'll be back for Doctor Who later in the year when it's back. We're going to try and do some Disney Plus Marvel shows in a few months, well, a few weeks, because WandaVision starts in like 2 weeks.
Hey,
Yeah, so the Zooms will continue. I'm sorry to
Yay.
say. But yeah, that's going to be everything, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
bye.
Bye!